Check out how I used my home studio to create this CTV commercial for BowFlex.
All right, today I am doing another shoot. This time it is for BowFlex. They reached out to me to do a product spotlight style CTV commercial for them. Specifically, this is for their SelectTech 552 dumbbells. So these are pretty sweet. They can go from as low of a weight as 5 pounds all the way up to a high weight of 52.5 pounds per dumbbell. So as you can tell by me, you already know I'm using the 52.5 pound dumbbells, as you could see by my clip from earlier. So this has got me written all over it. They specifically wanted a cinematic style ad. So in order to achieve that, nice, crisp, cinematic movements with dark backgrounds, I am using the Thunder Gray Savage Seamless Backdrop paper. I'm using 2 different surfaces. One is a concrete textured surface, and then I'll also be using a black acrylic surface to get reflection shots as well. So you'll see me switching between these 2 surfaces throughout the shoot. For the lights, my key light is an Amaran 200XS with an Amaran Light Dome Mini SE to diffuse it. My fill light over here is an Amaran 100XS with an Aperture Light Dome 3 to diffuse this one. I also have some accent lighting going on. They specifically, in their reference materials, had some shots where they had a really cool red color cast, and they asked if that would be possible to do on some of the shots. So you ask and you receive. So I already dialed this. This is an Amaran P60C panel light, and I dialed this to a nice red color that was similar to their reference image. And I have this shining on this side of the dumbbell. I will also be turning on this light in a second. This is an Amaran MT Pro tube light, and I've also dialed this one to the same red color as the panel light, and that's gonna be adding a lighter amount of red on this side as well. For my camera, I'm rolling on a Canon R5C with a Sigma 18-35 f1.8 art lens. And to make that lens work on an R5, I am using the Canon EF to RF adapter. For the first handful of shots, I have this set up on my Manfrotto tripod. And then after that, you'll also see me using my Edelkrone Head Plus to get some really cool robotics thrown in here. So we will have motorized pan and tilt movements as well to really dial in that cinematic motion. So all of that setup is out of the way. I'm gonna dive right into this first shot. I'm super amped to do this shoot. I think it's gonna come out so sick. So I will walk you through one scene at a time to see how I'm gonna achieve this.
The first shot I'm grabbing is a pack shot that shows everything you get when ordering this product. The 2 dumbbells with the 2 trays. I'm using the black acrylic surface and making sure no dust is visible by wiping it down with a microfiber cloth.
Then I'm going to get another shot where the red lights are turned off, just so I have the option in post in case I don't want to show the red lights until a certain beat in the ad. You've heard me say it before, and I will say this till my grave. I love the Sidus Link app from Aperture. So you can control all of your Aperture and Amaran lights directly from their app on your phone. It's such a fast and efficient way to get the shot I want, and it keeps the production moving along. As I said, we're gonna try one version without these red lights. So I'm going over to my panel light here, and I will kill the red light and go back to a white light. Then also I will go over to my MT Pro tube light, white light, and then boom. Now we have more of a standard looking shot. I'm going to make sure that the color temps on these whites are 5600 Kelvin to stay consistent. Now, same thing, I'm going to record a stationary shot with the white lighting. This next shot, I'm going to be using my Edelkrone Head Plus. I think this is the V3. And I'm going to set up a motorized pan and tilt to make this look a little bit more cinematic and give a perfectly smooth pan from one side of the weights to the other. So let's set that up.
And here are what those clips looked like. For the next shot, I set up my Edelkrone Head Plus by setting my starting point and ending point to create a smooth pan. I adjusted the speed and ease adjustments until the final shot was one I was happy with. Similar to the last shot, I grabbed a take with and without the red accent lighting, as well as some handheld shots.
Okay, for this shot, I took off the acrylic surface and now I'm using the concrete surface. And similar to the last shot, I'm going to be getting 3 styles of camera setups. One is just gonna be stationary on a tripod. Then I'll use the Edelkrone to get a motorized pan or tilt motion. And then I'll probably grab a few handhelds as well. I'm gonna do this for both the red light accents and the regular white light. And then after that, I will also be doing a version where we do a light sweep. Position 1 will be low. Position 2, I'm gonna pan up and leave a little headroom so I can even add some on-screen text in post. I think that looks so sick. Let me see if there's anything else on my storyboard that I wanna get. I did mention getting some handheld, but I really just don't think I'm gonna need it for this shot. I'm gonna be getting plenty of macros and close-ups, so I think between the stationary and the Edelkrone, we are good there. Also get a no red light version, we did that. Get a light sweep, that's the other thing that I need to remember. I actually love storyboards, it's not just my company name. I love visualizations of things, and this storyboard helps me keep my shoots so efficient. I have all these notes and things to make sure I won't forget. I mention not only the shot, but what surface am I using? What lights am I using? Are there any additional things I need to grab before I move my tripod? For this example, the light sweep. So for things like this, I live and die by my storyboard.
For the light sweep, I turn off all lights except for the panel light. Then I simply sweep the light at various speeds and angles to get a variety of sweeps.
Yeah, that looks so sick. All right, we are definitely good to move on. And this is like a really easy way to get a premium look on your videos with literally just one light. You could do an entire ad just of light sweeps and people would think it's sick.
I switched over to my Canon 100mm f2.8 macro lens to get the next shots.
So since I'm trying to show the full range of what this dumbbell does, I will be turning the dial to 5 pounds, which is the lightest, and then I will also do a take where John comes down and turns it to the maximum, which is 52.5. After we have both of those dial shots, we are gonna do the same thing, but from a medium angle where I'm going to come in and pick up the 5 pound weight, and then John's gonna come in and pick up the 52.5 pound weight. And the whole point is we'll have room for on-screen text once our hand pulls the weight out of the frame, and we'll be able to say replaces 15 sets of weights, or one of the other taglines that I put in our concept deck was less space, more workout. So I will go ahead and do my shot first. I'm gonna go in, smoothly turn it, action. Nice, I like that. For this shot, I switched back to my Sigma 18-35 lens, and John is here to pick up the lightweight at just 52.5 pounds. Okay, that's good. Perfect, put it down. All right, we should be fine. Now I'm gonna go in and do the 5 pound weight.
Since the comfortable grip is a big selling point, I made sure to light this correctly to show off the texture. To do this, I used a tube light behind the product, as well as a second one in a sweeping motion to illuminate the detail. For day 2 of the shoot, I focused on the turntable shots. I used the tube lights again here to add in the red color cast. I'm shooting on my macro lens to capture the detail of the plates rotating. I then got a motorized shot panning from the bottom to the top of the weight with options for white or red lighting. I did the same setup with my Sigma lens to get a wider shot. I timed the pan to land perfectly when the BowFlex logo came around, which looks super premium. This shot came out insane. Then I grabbed an overhead shot where I used a C-stand fitted with a grip arm. I raised my key and fill light accordingly and got some rotation shots. I use this same setup to also grab a light sweep using one of the tube lights. I moved back to my tripod and got a shot with only the panel light on, which created a really cool cinematic lighting setup where the details slowly become illuminated while the dumbbell rotated.
When your lighting looks this sick, it's like so easy to just get carried away and shoot every angle possible, but that's why it's so important to love what you do, because the fact that this gets me excited and wanting to work more is a good sign. I already got everything on my storyboard. This is all just like extra beauty shots because the product just looks so good.
And that's a wrap. This was one of my favorite shoots, and I loved experimenting with different lighting setups to get clean cinematic shots. I hope you learned a few things on how you can also get sick shots just like this at home. If you see this ad on TV, let your girl know. I'm excited to dive into my next project, and we'll have more videos to share throughout 2026. And as always, I appreciate you guys for checking out my videos.